what's up, guys? Welcome back. We're here for another episode of Creative Process. And I'm excited because we're in a new series of sorts, right? I think you're going to enjoy this one. I really do. But I want to say this. I want to start off by saying this. In our culture today, I really feel like there's a great emphasis on how you identify. Right? Who you date, who you marry, what you do, how you look, your online persona. There's a great deal of how you identify and what you identify as, right? And here's the thing, and based off of all those things I just said, people find their identity. And also, people begin to identify you as X, Y, and Z. Based off of what you do, who you marry, what you look like, right? So I was thinking, being a creative today has a certain ring to it that it didn't have back in the day. Now, I'm not that old, but you know, there was always this stigma like, you're going to school for music? Okay. Good luck. And today, there's millions of creatives, right? So it's more, I wouldn't say more acceptable, but it's a thing that's becoming prevalent, right? So we see this happening, right? And you see the tripods in Target. You know, I don't have an opinion on that. The outfits of the day, right? Things you gotta get from this grocery store. All this stuff, the hacks and everything. To me, being a creative is now trendy. It is. It's trendy. And I believe everyone is creative. I really do believe that. But however, to me, it seems that being described as a creative has become a badge of honor. It's almost like a separator. Like, I'm different. And there's a story that actually is similar to what I just said. Many of you may know the story. For all my Sunday school goers, right? If you have never stepped foot in Sunday school, that's okay, because we're going to take some time and read this story. So stick with me, because I think there's beautiful wisdom in it for us as creatives, seriously. So here we go. We're in Genesis 37. Here we go for the reading of God's word. Now Israel loved Joseph. Israel was Joseph's father, just to give you some context, more than any of his other sons, because he had been born to him in his old age and made an ornate robe for him. Other translations might say robe of many colors, or, you know, there's different translations. When his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers, they hated him all the more. Now, y'all got to listen to this dream. He said, "Listen to the dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while the stuff that y'all had, y'all sheaves, gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brothers said to him, 'Do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us?' AKA, who are you talking to?" And they hated him all the more because of his dream. They hated him all the more because of his dream and what he said. Then he had another dream, and he told it to his brothers. He said, "Listen, I had another dream. And this time the sun, moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me." Wow. When he told his father as well as his brothers, his father rebuked him and said, Hey, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually bow down to the ground before you?" His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. We're going to stop right there. So in this story, we are dropped into the middle of tension. It's tight. We clearly see that Israel loves Joseph so much that he made him a coat, a custom coat or robe. You can't get this off the rack. This has been handmade, right? It was fitted to him. And it had to be a great coat because his brothers hated him for it, right? Then after the coat, Joseph has a dream and he tells his brothers, no, Joseph is not reading the room correctly. For those who are wondering, he's definitely giving off baby of the family vibes, only child vibes. And he says, listen to the dream that I had. His brothers hated him. Then after telling the first dream, he has another one. And then guess what Joseph does? He goes and tells the people that love him the most, his brothers. Now his brothers are furious. You got a new coat. You're dreaming dreams. And they're more jealous of him to the point where in the second dream, even his dad rebuked him. There's so many dynamics in the story. Some see the brothers as being jealous. True. Some people see Joseph as being, gifted or chosen of somewhat, I guess. Right? I think there's another way of looking at this. Embrace yourself. Joseph, to me, was acting similar to how modern day creatives can act. Joseph was acting like a creative, where there's great significance placed on your uniqueness or about the uniqueness of someone and not how they handle their uniqueness. I would think that if I'm dreaming dreams that no one else is dreaming, and I know that someone hates me, I'm not going to go back to that person and say, this is the dream that I had, and it's so great, right? And I want to get this out of the way for our Sunday school people. The coat, because I know the coat it's mentioned a lot. The coat isn't what made Joseph unique. It was nice, maybe fur, I don't know. But it wasn't what made him unique. Because his father could have made the coat for any of his brothers. Right? The coat, according to scripture, showed his father's love and favoritism of Joseph. Another source states it like this. It sent a clear message that young Joseph was valued above the other brothers and would become the main inheritor of the father's property. So here's the first takeaway for us. I believe as creatives, we wear a lot. We wear our gifting and ability over us, our talent over us, our dreams over us, our mindset over us, that we're different over us. We wear that with such pride. And even if you are a stylist, right, or a designer, I want to say this, whether it's YSL, Louis Vuitton, Walmart, Target, I don't care what it is, anything outside of you is not what makes you unique. Whether you have a Fortune 500 company, whether you have a decent 401k, wait, it doesn't make you unique. Whether you can hold the note the longest amongst everyone in the world, it does not make you unique. That's not your uniqueness. It's a gift for sure, but you can't identify. Let me say it like this. You can't identify that as being the sole purpose in everything that you are. You can't wear that. What is draped on you is not your uniqueness, even though the world will tell you that it is. Because if the coat made Joseph unique and was responsible for the father's favor, he would have lost it when his brother sabotaged him and took the coat from him. He would have lost it if it was the coat. It didn't even make it past a few chapters. It was gone quickly. So although it was the coat, the brothers really envied the favor that was on Joseph, right? Here's the tough thing. Many influencers and creators think that they are not affected by this. But when you feel inadequate based off of the lack of influence you have, the lack of brand deals or clients, gigs, auditions. Those things have now become your coat, where you think it's the thing that's making you special, that makes you stand out. And you're wearing it, mistaking it as being the favor of God when you get things. When you get the role, you mistake it as, oh, it's just my gifting. It's head and shoulders above everyone else. No, it's the favor of God. Oh, it has to be the way I look. It's the favor of God. And maybe it is the way you look, or sound, or dress, or act. But it's the favor of God that got you to that point. And we're wearing the wrong thing with such a coat, a badge of honor. And I think there's many other things that we put on ourselves like that we identify as. Whether you write, you do poetry, you design, whatever it is, it's nice, but it's not the totality of God's favor, right? So what you have on, what you drape yourself or identify yourself as, does not necessarily signify who you are. The world works like that. God doesn't. Right? So let's turn towards Joseph being a dreamer, because this is another thing that we hear about Joseph. You hear about the coat and the dreams. A pastor by the name of YPJ, that's his nickname, said something so funny but heavy. He said that Joseph is known to be a dreamer, but in reality, he only had 2 dreams that we knew of and became labeled that. And I come to say, however, even though he had some vivid dreams, that wasn't what made him unique in the story. And we're going to dive into that next week. We're going to dive into that next week, because I believe your dreams and aspirations are not what makes you different. I know that might be a bold thing to say, but it's not, because everyone dreams. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm going to save that for next week. But as we recap, being a creative has become like a thing now, trendy now, a pattern now, right? And with that, we have to be careful. It's a good thing to have more light illuminated on that space, but at the same time, don't identify yourself by what you do or what you can do, right? Don't do that. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm really excited for this series, so much so I wanted to keep going. We're going to end it right here. Listen, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please share. If there's anything that you're finding valuable here, share, subscribe, like. And also, I wanted to tell you this. We actually have this in the audio format. That's right. If you go to Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts from, we should be listed there. So check out Creative Process, Marcus Myers. You will find it. So if you're on the treadmill, if you can't watch this visually, that's okay. You can hear it audibly, right? Guys, as always, stay creative, and I will see you soon.